I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iacili.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Stiglin.
Present.
All right, I move to adopt the minutes of the regular town board meeting held on October 22nd, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Association of Towns. Their notice of 2025 annual meeting and training school for February 16th through 19th in 2025. Suffolk County Department of Economic Development and Planning, notice for aquaculture lease renewals and assignments for Noyak Bay and Little Peconic Bay. Village of West Hampton Beach, Zoning Board of Appeals hearing for Dune Road, West Hampton Beach on November 21st. Annual statement of financial disclosure from the listed individual. And emails, letters, and land use applications regarding the following: alternative energy, renewable diesel, Chapter 298 taxation, accessory dwelling units, community housing fund staff salaries, planning board matter of cannabis retail in Hampton Bays, planning board matter of the demolition of the Hampton Bays Diner, planning board application for Montauk Highway and South Country Road, Quiog, zoning board of appeals applications for Cold Spring Point Road, Tuckahoe, Hildreth Road, Hampton Bays, Ocean View Drive, Shinnecock Hills, and Pine Neck Avenue, Noyak. Town Fire Districts adopted 2025 budgets for Bridgehampton, Eastport, Flanders, Hampton Bays, North Sea, Riverhead, and Southampton. The following report was filed by the Town Comptroller for October 2024 monthly financial reports. Bid and requests for proposals were received October 30th for a bid for heavy-duty Class 5-8 truck parts. Various pricing, November 6th, bid for Bay Drive bulkhead rehabilitation for the Highway Department. And that concludes our communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you, Cindy. I have one walk-on resolution, Town Board Resolution ID number 48126, to authorize the release of a performance bond for demolition of an existing house located at 166 Sabonic Road, Tuckahoe. I move to add this to the list of resolutions on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1 on the 2025 preliminary budget.
Oh, actually, would you read both, the
Certainly.
second one as well?
Public hearing number 2, to consider any increases proposed in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town of Southampton special districts.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the town board. As you know, this is a continuation of the public hearing on your 2025 fiscal budget, continuing from October 22nd. At this time, it would be appropriate to take any public comment. Your town comptroller, Dorothy Godlewski, is also here for any questions. And there are, if you're so inclined to close it today, resolutions adopting that budget on the agenda later today for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have any cards for, there aren't any cards, but would anyone like to speak to the preliminary budget?
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was declaring myself and not the town crossing guard. My name is Kristen White. I am a resident of Southampton. My question about the town budget is, I see from my rough calculations of math that, and I'm sorry, Ms. Supervisor, I based it off of you, that you are giving yourself at least around a 4.5% increase in your salary. starting next year in your second year of your term, which I believe puts you more than what Jay Schneiderman was making after his 8 years of serving this board in this town. And I just don't, I would like to know how you can justify that when that puts you about $100,000 above what your lowest municipal, I mean, your worker who is on the highway department or the waste management, those guys that are in the union, how you can justify giving yourself such a raise knowing that your workers are struggling to live here in Southampton. And in fact, I will say that I'm pretty sure there's only about 4 or 5 guys and women who work on the east side of the canal who actually live and can afford to live on the east side of the canal. And the majority of those people have been here for generations and probably were fortunate enough to be given land by their families, which is why they can afford to live here. And when we talk about how traffic is such an issue, you're asking all of your employees to cross that canal every morning to come to work because they can't afford to live here. Thank you.
I'll just respond by saying I didn't single myself out. This year, we put in the tentative budget for all of the non-union employees to receive a $3,000 increase over and above the 2.5%. And the union employees got the 2.5% that's in their contract. The contract's up next year, so as soon as the first of the year comes around, we're going to be negotiating that, and of course, you know, we'll be fair, and there will be increases there as well.
Those are all.
Oh, those are all portion. Okay. Kevin, is anybody on Zoom that wishes to be heard at the first 2 public hearings? All right. And does anybody on the board have any comments or concerns? Okay, then I move to close the first public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I move to close the second public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the third public hearing?
Public hearing number 3, to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 8, Budget, to override the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law 3C.
Good afternoon, members of the town board. This is the second public hearing as it relates to the proposal to override your tax cap limit. As you know, and by way of brief background, the property tax cap establishes a limit on the annual growth or increase of property taxes levied by local governments and school districts up to 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. By its terms, the tax levy cannot exceed the cap unless 60%, or here, that's a simple majority, of the town board approves such an increase by a duly adopted local law pursuant to General Municipal Law Section 3-C. As proposed, the tax levy increase is over the cap by approximately $5.1 million. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have. Again, your town comptroller, Dorothy Godlewski, is also here. And if you're so inclined to close this public hearing, there is a resolution of adoption for this local law on the agenda later today for your consideration.
Thank you. Yeah, and you know, this is a result of several months' work, and I want to thank Dorothy and Kathleen and the staff and the department heads and this board for all the help that went into creating the budget. And you know, there were a lot of increased costs for healthcare, insurance, and workers' comp, and there was a reduction in the mortgage tax revenue, and we also created many new positions that were very much needed, including 4 new police officers and some sergeant promotions and code enforcement officers, and then also some townwide communications upgrades. We prioritized completing some ongoing projects, funded recurring operations expenses, funded a comprehensive plan update. So, you know, it just wasn't possible to provide all the services and not pierce the cap this year.
I'd like to make a statement as well, just for the public certification. This particular override I do not take lightly. It's the first time in my governmental career that we've been faced with overriding the tax cap. And, because of the need for increased services in the town of Southampton, we have gone from 57,000 people to 69,000 people, from census to census, and that it requires more services to the people of the town. In addition to that, we have been asked for various services in public safety, police, and of course, all of our departments are strained. So I believe that this is necessary, particularly in the high inflation environment that was caused by the pandemic from years ago, that we are all facing higher costs across the board. So for those reasons, I will be supporting this.
Thank you. We don't have any cards for this.
Regretfully.
Is everyone doing their budget statements now as to why they're supporting or not supporting? Just curious.
Well, I was just introducing my thoughts on it, but I suppose everybody's entitled to say what they want, and we can then go and see if anyone's on Zoom.
Mm-hmm. It's important.
Oh, he just said that.
Mhm.
Did you want to?
I'll
say
make my
something?
statement when we get to the budget adoption.
Okay. All right, so I move to close public hearing number 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the 4th notice?
Public hearing number 4, to consider a substitution of term in the Residence District's Table of Use Regulations.
Good afternoon. Assistant Town Attorney Katie Garvin. As you may recall, we were here in September with our summer intern to amend what we had described as a typographical error in the Residence District's Table of Use Regulations. At the time of the public hearing, there was some concern that the title was not really correctly reflecting what we had hoped to adopt, because we had called it a typographical error, and it's really more appropriately called a substitution of term. So the town board withdrew the resolution of adoption, and we renoticed it to what it is today, which is pretty much just more accurately describing the substitution of term. And just I'll recap what I had said at the prior hearing, which was that in 2019, the town code was amended to replace the term school for the mentally retarded with the term school for the intellectually disabled. At the time, that was describing the special exception standards that are in Chapter 33159. But at the time, the town board did not catch that the term remained in the Table of Use Regulations. So this proposed amendment is just to strike that and substitute the term school for the intellectually disabled. We did refer it to the Suffolk County Planning Commission and to the Planning Board, who gave us the same comments that they had before. So this was just really to clean up what we had done before.
Thank you, Katie.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Their comments were just, it's a matter of local concern.
Correct. Well, the Suffolk County Planning Commission had said it was a matter for local determination, and the Planning Board had asked us to just, confirm that that was a proper term. If you recall, our intern from the last time had done a search, and there's multiple terms that could be used to describe some of these schools, but we still did land on keeping it the way that it is in the code, but just taking out the prior antiquated term.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, we don't have any cards for this public hearing. Kevin, is anybody on Zoom that would like to be heard? Okay. Well, I move to close the 4th public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 5th public hearing?
Public hearing number 5, to consider the acquisition of 528 Pleasure Drive in the hamlet of Flanders, New York, and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and Town Council members. Jacqueline Fenlon here, Community Preservation Director. So today we are here to consider the acquisition of the property owned by William H. Fuse. So it is a 1.6 acre property located at 528 Pleasure Drive in the hamlet of Flanders, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-201-111.2. So William H. Fuse has expressed an interest in selling the property for $375,000, and I will just point to the property now. This property is located in the CPF priority plan under the Central Pine Barrens Core Preservation Area, target area within that plan. It's comprised of pitch pine oak woodlands, and it is also possibly serving future trail connections. There is an existing trail, which is this red line right here. So that could give a community trail link in the future to that existing county trail. That the county owns a significant portion directly to the east of this property. I also wanted to note that this property is also impacted by a kettle hole freshwater wetland, which impacts the development of the driveway if this were be privately developed, but we will be leaving it in its current condition as we have sufficient access and its preservation and open space objectives will be met. So I just wanted to let you know that this did have a wetlands permit that would require significant improvements to that flag strip due to the very close proximity of the freshwater wetland.
Mhm.
Which is right here.
Thank you. Does anybody, there's no cards, so does anybody have any comments about this public hearing? Kevin, is anyone on Zoom? Well, thank you, Jackie. If
Thank
no
you.
one
Thank
else
you,
has any
Jackie.
concerns, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 6th public hearing? Thank you.
Public hearing to consider a local law amending Chapter 150 to enact a leash law for streets and sidewalks.
Good afternoon, Assistant Town Attorney Sean Cambridge presenting this. This was brought forward by our Animal Control Division and our Department of Public Safety. What this draft does is it requires a leash on public streets and sidewalks by changing the definition section to differentiate public streets and sidewalks and all other areas of the town. The Animal Control Division finds most dangerous dog proceedings, which are ag markets proceedings the town has to prosecute, occur on streets and sidewalks. So this is in response to those types of cases being brought forward.
And Sean, just a quick point of consideration here for the public. This resolution is also clarifying and specifying under control what that means as it pertains to walking dogs on sidewalks and streets.
Yes, absolutely. So in other areas of the town, under control is a little bit subjective. You can do voice commands, a clicker, any number of things as long as you can control that dog. This makes animal control officers' jobs easy because on a street or sidewalk, they just have to look for a leash.
And this is a great step, right? I mean, this doesn't affect dogs and families with dogs on beaches, right?
Correct. This doesn't affect beaches, parks, recreational areas that sometimes otherwise would have leash laws depending on seasons and parking restrictions and things like that. But this legislation won't affect any of those areas.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
And by the way, thank you to Ryan Murphy as well for his work on this.
This is something Ryan was in favor of too.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have any comments about the changes to the leash law? Kevin, is anyone on Zoom? Anybody on the board wish to comment? Or?
Is this on for adoption today?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. All right, I move to close the public hearing then.
Second.
On the second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 7th public hearing?
Public hearing number 7 to consider local law enacting 312-6C7 in order to make portion of Lighthouse Road a one-way road in a southerly direction between its intersections with Foster Avenue, Hampton Bays.
Once again, Assistant Town Attorney Sean Cambridge. This was brought forward at the request of our highway superintendent. He said that this road is getting a lot of commercial traffic that it really wasn't intended for. Creating a one-way between its two intersections would preserve the character of this neighborhood and kind of stop some of that heavy commercial use.
If I'm not mistaken, it was also done to facilitate a multi-use path and stop the cut through that happens when everybody wants to bypass the stop sign at the end.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
I think to make room for sidewalks on that street, is that also correct? Or is that gonna be a multi-use path? on that
It's a
side?
multi-use
Yeah, the
path.
highway superintendent.
Charles, the highway superintendent, is here.
Charlie McCardle, Highway Superintendent. Yeah, there was a major concern with afternoon traffic coming off the beach. They were trying to circumvent the traffic by cutting through. There was also an issue with the sidewalk, which, if you've been down there, has really come out quite well. To get to the Ponquag Bridge, to walk over the bridge, it was an area now that it's one way, that people can actually walk on that street. You only have to look in one direction to watch the cars. So I think it's a huge benefit, and I hope the board supports it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks for doing that, Charlie.
Would anybody like to speak to this public hearing topic? Okay, Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom? All right, everybody on the board's fine with this, right?
Yes.
Then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the 8th and final public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 8, to consider the sale of 112 Old Riverhead Road, West Hampton Beach, New York.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, Town Council members. Kelly Doyle, Assistant Town Attorney. We have an aerial photo right here of 112 Old Riverhead Road in the village of West Hampton Beach. The tax map number is 905-2-2-4.4. The lot is approximately 1.8 acres. It is zoned by the village as a business district 2. Currently, it is improved with a 2-story commercial building. You can see here it has a total area of approximately 12,878 square feet. That's a first and second floor. Additionally, there is a full basement. That's 7,741 square feet. Right now, the building is currently vacant, except for there is an existing lease with Verizon. Verizon has an antenna and communications equipment on the roof. And if the town were to sell the property, the lease would be assigned to the new owner. The town purchased this property in 2021 for $4.65 million with the intention of utilizing the building as a community center.
My understanding was it was purchased for $4.1 million.
I have 4.65. I have the purchase price now for 4.15 for the current sale right now.
All right, that's not my understanding.
That's what the resolution was in 2021 that the town purchased it for 4.65.
What was that? That was the bond, right? Because it was
4.15 was the bond.
Yeah, so because there were
'cause it was-
closing costs
we
on
added
top of
an
that.
extra $500,000 for upgrades that
Right,
we told
there were
at the time. So
upgrades
that's
and
the
closing
difference.
costs and
Right.
that were added on. So the bond was more than the purchase price.
Right.
So prior to the town's purchase, this was used as a restaurant on the second floor. The first floor was a car dealership and the basement had car storage. So as we just talked about, the bond was a little bit more because in order to renovate this building to make it into a space that would be usable for municipal office purposes, there would be necessary expenditures to do that. So in the meantime, the town has determined that it may be better to try to find an alternative location for a community center in West Hampton Beach, in the village of West Hampton, rather than utilize this building because of all the necessary upgrades.
Because
So
rather than the $500,000 put aside, the bids came in at $4.8 million.
right, exactly. So there was an offer after the building was listed for sale with the broker. The offer is from Appliance World of Huntington. The offer is to purchase for $4.15. Appliance World of Huntington, it is a family-owned high-end appliance company. And the building appears to be well-suited for Appliance World because of the space that they have there, the basement. They could store things in the basement. There's a freight elevator. So it appears to be well-suited. And I believe that the Village of West Hampton Beach had no issues with the proposed change from the existing CO for the restaurant into the retail sales, because that is something that is permitted in the zone. So if the board is so inclined to move forward To enter a contract of sale, there is an authorizing resolution on the agenda today. Just to note that that would be, if you adopt that resolution, that would be subject to a permissive referendum. So that just means 45 days, then it could actually be officially adopted if no petition were to be filed in the town clerk's office.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Does anybody have any questions about that? Don't have any cards, so is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak to this public hearing? All right. It's a
We know
quiet,
that the,
quiet day.
the purchaser is doing their due diligence now on the property. They've been inspecting the building and everything. So far everything looks good, so it's positive that we're gonna be able to go through with the transaction.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. All
You're
right,
welcome.
Thank
so,
you.
if no one has anything else, then I move to close the 8th public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the public portion. And we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, so everyone has an opportunity to speak. The first card is from David Seeley. Okay. I'll put your card at the end. Next is
George Caston.
George Kasdan.
I don't like to wait till towards the end, man.
Okay. Next is Christine White.
My name is Kristen White and I live in Southampton. My comment is more out of curiosity and curiosity of character. Last year, Councilwoman McNamara ran for the superintendent position, and her opponent, well, not her opponent, there were a lot of negative flyers that were put out by a couple of groups of people. And because I'm a halfway intelligent person, I was able to figure out that a lot of that was funded by a gentleman by the name of Bob Rubin. And it made me scratch my head because Bob Rubin lives in East Hampton. So I thought, why would he have any concern over who was elected supervisor of the town of Southampton? And now here we are, less than 11 months later, and I realize why Bob Rubin wanted to support somebody who may see things from his perspective. Bob Rubin is also the developer of the Bridge Golf Course. He wants to close down the sand mines.
All right, excuse me for this pronunciation, but Stephen
Wesneski.
Wisnowski.
Good afternoon, everybody. I normally do not get up and speak at public meetings, but my name is Steve Mezaneski. Was born and raised here. My children are 5th generation from here. At 16 years old, I started an excavation company and mining company. I think town board needs to open their eyes. I understand there's a lot of things being proposed right now to phase out and stop sand mining in the town of Southampton. There's currently 21 sand mines in Suffolk County, 7 of which are in the town of Southampton. Sand mining on Long Island is the most heavily regulated industry in the United States as far as the groundwater monitoring, the monitoring by the DEC, the samplings that need to be done, and just the oversight. What the town board is proposing to do is close all sand mines all the town boards are looking to close all sand mines in Suffolk County, which is going to be the biggest mistake you've ever made. It opens up Pandora's box for sand to be excavated, trucked in, brought in from who knows where, with no oversight, no monitoring. You're going to triple and quadruple the amount of trucks coming in and out of Long Island. And the DEC itself, if you go on their mining website, they actually have concerns publicly written about scoop excavating, they call it, which is where people come in, excavate clean sand and bring contaminated material and backfill it back in again. And all this is going to happen with no oversight. With the sand mines, you have a controlled area, you have people watching, people monitoring, test wells being dug, test well sampling being done, and all of the regulations and oversight. The owners of the sand mines are actually following the rules, and 99% of them are, and doing the right thing to protect the groundwater and to make sure that the environment out here is preserved. I'm hoping my family's here for 5 more generations, but nobody wants a sand mine in their backyard, but unfortunately it's a necessity, and we just need to look at it very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Kevin Brown.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman and members of the council. Kevin Brown, law firm of Vogel and Brown, Syracuse, New York. We represent the construction material industries throughout New York State.
Would you speak up just a bit, please?
Sorry. Yeah, my law firm represents construction materials companies throughout New York State. That would be sand and gravel mines, quarries, ready mix cement, and hot mix asphalt plants. Probably the most difficult environment, regulatory environment, in the state is Long Island. And for good reason. There's a sole source aquifer here. But I want to address a few misunderstandings that came out during the work session that I watched was that a week ago, 2 weeks ago? There was a misstatement that when the town asked for groundwater monitoring under the recent state enactment that allowed towns to request on Long Island to request groundwater monitoring from mines for possible contaminants related to mining, the town drafted a law. There was a statement that no one responded, that no one sent in a plan, that everyone ignored that. That's simply not true. It's a misunderstanding. I'm not sure that the madam who made those statements knew.
I did correct that and said, to my knowledge, one had.
Well,
But
I know.
subsequently, we found others, so continue.
Yeah, there are. And also there was extensive comments made on those, on the proposed monitoring plan that in the local law. Those included sampling for all kinds of materials and contaminants that are not related to any activities at a mine, at a sand mine. They're just not related, and they're very expensive to test for. Right now, Huntington Ready Mix is involved in the voluntary program. To even put the program together is hundreds of thousands of dollars with geologists, hydrogeologists, biologists. Then we have to do the sampling under very controlled circumstances because we're sampling for exotic things, PFOAs, emerging contaminants. If somebody's got a wrapper from Burger King that's got that material on it, if they're wearing reflective gear, anything like that, if the tubes aren't just right, and then it goes to the lab and they're testing for parts per trillion. It's very expensive. It's costing $40,000-$50,000 a round. All that, it's all coming back negative. It's all coming back negative. We're doing it to demonstrate there is no risk from mining except one thing.
30 seconds.
And that is petroleum contaminants from spills from equipment. Huntington went out and spent millions of dollars to electrify their dredges and conveyors. So now there are no trucks driving by the water that's open. There's just no basis for this attack on sand mines as affecting groundwater. One last thing I want to reflect on what Mr. Mesneski said. There were 24 years ago, there were 73 mines on Long Island. It's down to 21. That's 1/3. The cost of that material, which you need for every project, everything you want to do in this town, it's gone up from $8 a yard to $24. When we take that down from 23 to 11, which is what we're about to do, you can take that 24 to 48 per yard. At 30 miles, you pay more to haul the stuff than it costs. and you're going to have to be bringing it. We did a study for Leica that we put in to the legislature for the governor's veto. Material at 30 miles, it's doubled. This material will be coming from upstate New York through the Bronx on 20-ton trucks, and that's not environmental justice. It's not good for the environment. I noticed you had to raise your tax
4
levy.
minutes.
It's going to get even worse. But I'm going to make full comment. I assume we're going to have a notice for public comment. We'll make a full comment on it, but you're putting family businesses out of business.
You're over your time limit. There's a lot of people here want to speak.
No, we can't.
Just relax.
That's all right.
You're better off coming to the public hearing
Yes, sir.
and seeing it there, so it's on the record.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yep.
That's why I would like to hear it there.
And
Thank you.
also, that law that was passed was in 2021. The three of us weren't here then, but Councilwoman McNamara and Councilman Scavone
I
were
was not
here. And maybe there's an appetite for looking at it to see if those, as you said, if those things that are being tested for are so obscure. I don't know. That would be up to our land management company. They could department that could make a recommendation to us if we wanted to reconsider and revise the requirement.
Doesn't matter, you're putting them out of business in a year.
Some of them have 7 years. Well, we can't go back and forth, I'm sorry. But you're welcome to come back to the next one. All right, Louis Grasso. I think it's Grasso.
Yes, the new proposed law makes no mention of the permit. It just states that they are all notified that they are closed within 1 year. Let's make that clear.
How you doing? Louis Grasso, Huntington Ready Mix. We are just really opposed to the amortization law. It's going to boil back to right on, I know at the last meeting they were saying the neighbors aren't the ones consuming or buying this product. They're exactly who's using it in their driveways, their patios, any kind of project they want to do. So if they're looking to pay double, triple the rates, that's where it's going to head. And just please consider it. Third generation, just looking to continue my great uncle's legacy, and do something nice with the property for the community. We'd like to either do something like a solar project, give that back to the grid, or it would be like a park. We're proposing things that fit right into your comp plan for the area, and we just would like some movement on that too. We know you guys want to see this finished up, and we're looking to do so in the best way, responsibly for the environment. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, this code section isn't going to eliminate the reclamation that was already agreed to with the DEC. And so things like solar installations and other things are certainly allowed. This is merely saying that, we can't determine how far into the process everybody is, but you can come forward and say, we still have 50% of our sand to mine, and then you can have another 5 or 7 years to do it. It's just a way to say, let's finish up. If you're done, if you're almost done, finish up, and if not, show us, your permit and tell us how much sand is left, and then we'll give you the additional time. Okay, so Franco Mastronardi.
Good afternoon. My name is Franco Mastronardi. I own a trucking company, and so about 20 families, they depend on sand mine. If there's no sand mine, there's no more trucking business. And then I want to bring back the point of Kevin. If sand has got to come in from different places, it's going to increase a lot the price coming in, the environmental impact, and other areas, because it becomes like nobody wants it on their backyard. So sand mining is going to move to Brookhaven. Brookhaven is going to do the same. If the material comes from upstate, that which already they're under stress with the amount of stuff that they take out, and so the material's got to come in through the ports. Now, Port Washington or Jefferson, when they're going to have all the increase of the trucking coming in, they're going to be complaining because it's going to screw up their traffic, and then, a much increase of trucking going back and forth. Unless the price, I don't know what the impact is going to be for the price, because this stuff has got to be all imported in. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Rick Cerrone.
Good afternoon. Name is Rick Cerrone. So I am a ready-mix supplier in Long Island. I have 2 locations, and we buy all of our sand on Long Island. If we had to purchase sand from upstate New York and wherever else it's going to be come in from with the barges, I mean, the cost would be astronomical. The cost for concrete would have to go up astronomically. Trucking. What we could do with 2 trucks to supply our plants, we would need 10 trucks. So imagine all of the other plants. I believe there's over 30 concrete plants on Long Island that need sand. So imagine all the other trucks that would have to come in to Long Island to supply us. So just want to let you know that impact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It says Loretto. Laredo. Just Laredo.
Hi, good
Hi.
afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
I'm Elena Loretto, and I'm president of the Noyak Civic Council. And I'm here to discuss this sand mine, land, whatever issue. And I realize that, yes, you do need a public hearing. It's very important, okay, for many reasons. I'll only touch on a couple. First of all, I do want to say that Steve Mesneski's mine, his business, is superb. It's superior. He follows the law. I've seen him in action, as a person who purchased sand, whatever. But anyway, he does a great job and he follows the law. And the difference between his business and others, such as Sandland, is that, in 1972, Sandland was violating the law. In 72. And since then, they have been non-conforming with the zoning regulations. It's a big difference, okay? So, you have to look at each individual sand mining business. So Sandland has been non-conforming for 52 years, and it continues. It's time for them to reclaim that land. If you've ever seen the place, photos of it, it looks like something on the moon. You cannot believe what this looks like. But really, it's time for you to enact, whether it's Bill Kell's suggestion with everything should be closed, the mining, whatever, okay? But it's time for Sandland to reclaim the land and move on, as Maria Moore had suggested. So please, put it on a public hearing. Let's get going with this. It has nothing to do with water. That's secondary, despite the fact that Cindy had mentioned that there was no problem. But you've got to look at this whole thing. Sandland is different.
30
It's
seconds.
not like every mine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify that, Steve, your mine is where it is non-conforming. Sandland didn't become non-conforming. Well, your business isn't in a non-conforming use.
You can't talk. You can't. Hey, Steve.
Well, I'm just saying
You
that
can't talk
there was
from
a
there.
comment made that Sandland was violating the law and became non-conforming. They became non-conforming because the zoning was enacted, and they became a non-conforming use, as did all sand mines in residential areas. They didn't become non-conforming because they did anything wrong. They became non-conforming because we changed the law, and they became non-conforming because the town decided that was going to be a future residential area. So I just want to clarify that.
That is correct.
Yeah.
They can't, Steve. They can't hear you on the microphone.
Conforming for that since then, and within the law, you're able to keep going.
They can't hear you on the microphone.
And as I stated previously, we have lots of non-conforming uses in the town, and we even allow people to expand on those non-conforming uses out of necessity.
David Seeley, are you ready to speak? you say this one?
Caston. Caston's pool, that's what that is.
Dave Seeley. As I said before, I don't have as much at stake as the people in this room, but I do work for a lot of them. Our businesses are interlinked in so many ways. If you can't build foundations, I can't put electric in houses. So they provide the basis of going to work for a lot of people in this town. And I know we keep saying that we got to make things better. I don't understand how getting rid of sand mines and creating more traffic with trucks and costs is making things better. We're really just going the reverse direction. We keep talking about how things are expensive in Southampton town, but we keep putting nails in the coffin of that with rules. We keep putting more and more things in the way of how the housing is getting that much more expensive. And you just heard from a bunch of people who said you're going to quadruple, if not worse, make the cost that much worse. These are the people that know. I don't know anything about the cost of shit. I don't know the cost of getting sand out of the ground. What I do know is if they're saying it, they mean it. These are hardworking people whose lives depend on getting sand out of the ground. And then my life depends on, or my 20 guys that I have to employ that have families depend on putting electric in the houses that the foundations are coming from the sand that they provide. We're really kind of going against the grain here. We're trying to make things better and cheaper for people to live, and we just keep going the wrong direction. This is one of them. You're going in the wrong direction. I get material from some of these people. I deliver material to some of these people. I put electric in from the houses and in their plants. You got to stop screwing with our businesses. Got to stop. Enough's enough. Mr. Pell, you put this up there. Did you ever visit one of these places?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, which one?
I've been to Steve's, and he does do a nice job.
Okay, anybody else?
I've been up to East Coast Mine over the years.
Nice job over there too, isn't he?
So-so.
So, as in what? He's actually gotten rid of a lot of things over there because of
can't-
what you've done.
I'd rather just wait to the public hearing about
Yeah,
this.
I know, but you're the one who put it up, so I wanted to talk to you specifically.
Yes.
I've been to a number of the mines. And a number of these mines, they
We're
do a
not supposed to go
specific-
back and forth. I'd rather
All
go
right,
on the
so then
record
let
on
me
public
speak then.
hearing.
Yeah, I'll talk. And what I'll say is I've been to a number of the mines, and they do a very nice job. And I see the town marshals visiting them. I see people coming and going, so they're being inspected on a regular basis. So all you're doing is stamping out people's businesses by what you're doing. It's not fair what you're doing, and this is going on with a lot of things in this town. We got to stop messing with people's livelihoods. I got 20 people to feed. They've got 20 people to feed. If you keep messing with all of us, there's gonna be a lot of people who don't have any money to pay the bills. So you got to stop with this crap. Thank you.
Okay, and George Kasdan.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak today? And we have one last speaker.
John Nicole, Highway Department. So I know the town board took great pains in their budget, and I commend you for that. A lot of services were needed, a lot of additional staffing was needed, and the CECA and the union workers will see their due when they negotiate their contract. But I want you to understand that the highway department will be impacted tremendously by this. If you remember one of the storms, in a drop of a hat, one of our local mines delivered 45 truckloads to Dune Road so we could stop the breach. That won't happen if we have to get the sand from elsewhere. And another thing that you always rely on the highway department is the traffic problems. You have to think about the traffic if these mines are closed, these trucks coming in from elsewhere. Plus, what we do for a living in the highway department, sidewalks, the construction, all those costs which will come back to this town board will be reflected by this law. So I think you should rethink it. I think you should support these mines because they've helped us tremendously, and my budget will go through the roof if these are closed. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Right, well, that concludes the public portion. I move to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming and participating. All right, let's go forward with the resolutions.
Do you want to wait for folks to exit? And if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a moment just to go. Thank you. Thank you.
Did we call a recess?
No, we did.
Did you want one?
No.
We're on a roll.
All right. Bill, why don't you start us off? Hmm?
Me? Okay. We'll start off with Town Board Resolution 2024-1178. This is a resolution of adoption amending Southampton Town Code Chapter 298. Article 8 to authorize an exemption for the creation of new accessory dwelling units within the town. I do want to say we received some feedback from specifically Hampton-based school district. Superintendent Clemenson is actively discussing this with his board. Does seem to think that this is fine. We are awaiting, however, additional feedback from other school districts. So I would like to table this until we receive additional information.
I thought we were
Thought you were gonna
talked about withdrawing it because we were going to talk about ADUs in more depth.
I did discuss this with the co-sponsor, and because we are still awaiting some of the feedback, Councilman, do you
Yeah, I concur.
we'll table it one more time and see what kind of feedback we gather? Is that okay with the rest of the board? I mean, we're not taking action on it, we're just tabling it.
Yeah, it's just that Janice had just mentioned that she wanted to review the ADU code with us and that it would make sense to do it all at once, but we're the sponsors, so we can just table it.
Table.
Table. Until when, Councilman?
When's the next December meeting?
December meeting is the 10th.
So we'll do December 10th, if that's okay with the board. Thank you. Appreciate everybody's patience with this.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 2024-1263 to authorize.
We have to vote to table.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 2024-1263 to authorize purchases of cesspool cleaning using Suffolk County contract with Environmental Services, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1264, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize purchases of industrial and commercial equipment and supplies from Choice Distribution, Inc., Fastenal Company, HD Supply Facilities Maintenance Limited, Home Depot USA, Inc., Lawson Products, Inc., and WW Granger, Inc., using Suffolk County contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1265 to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for Tesla electric vehicles with Tesla, Inc.
Is this for all, what specifically is this contracted associated with? Is it just the town of Southampton's electric charging stations?
No, this is for vehicles. It's our pay-as-you-go account.
To extend the
purchase
contract.
Teslas.
Do you want to just get, if you don't mind, I just want to make sure I have a full understanding
So
of that.
this is just extending a contract, so next year we can buy more vehicles from Tesla.
So this is for us to continue to purchase vehicles from Tesla.
Correct.
Now, do we have the adequate infrastructure in place because those are electric vehicles that require electric charging?
That would
That's
be Tom's question.
We
Our
do. We
municipal
increase
works
charging
director.
capacity across the street as well as here at Town Hall.
We just added four.
I understand that we did, yes. I want to know if, what we're going to be increasing our fleet to.
And
that
some,
we are.
and some of these get purchased using grants.
Correct. This is just to
And-
extend the contract, so we don't have to adapt another, another contract with Tesla. This is
It
just
was all
extending for another year.
for the public's edification, just because this had come up previously. I did question buying Teslas and the expense. And when we use the grants to get vehicles, electric vehicles, there are stipulations as to where they are manufactured, and these are base models, and they're one of the few electric companies that still meet the qualifications required for us to use the grant money to purchase. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thanks,
So I
Dorothy.
have a second on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1266, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for dry cleaning and laundry services to Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1267 of 2024, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for embroidered and silk screen clothing with NYSID, BSN Sports, Jonas Enterprises, Inc., Woods Men's and Boys Clothing, Inc., J&G Awards and Sports, Emergency Responder Products, and Fisher Signs and Shirts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1268 of 2024, authorize supervisor to sign 2024 contract with Suffolk County Office for the Aging to receive additional senior citizen nutrition programming funding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1269, authorize supervisor to sign a contract amend with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC to provide professional engineer service for the traffic study and intersection of Lumber Lane at Maple Lane and Lumber Lane at Narrow Lane in Bridgehampton. A lot of lanes.
Yeah.
We just added stop signs and made a three-way stop sign on the corner of Maple Lane and Lumber Lane. Is that?
Is this related to that?
I think so.
It does include the intersection in the
I'm
engineering
wondering-
study. I just wonder how that would work.
I think L.K. McLean did the work, and this is an amendment, I think, to that contract.
To pay it. Yeah, because Mark, Charlie wanted me to bring this up.
Okay.
Who seconded it?
Okay.
Did someone second it?
I don't have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1270 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for acceptance of Town of Southampton North Sea Landfill Leachate Wastewater with Clearflow Technologies, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1271 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for furnish and deliver meter pits with Ferguson Waterworks and T-Minus Supply, LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1272 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for maintenance, installation, repair of water mains with Roadwork Construction Corp.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1273, authorize supervisor to sign contract extend for traffic line striping and traffic marking with Cinino Pavement Marking, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1274 to co-sponsor with Councilwoman McNamara to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for invasive vegetative control and removal with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1275, co-sponsored by Council Members Pell and McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for roll-off containers with Monmouth Solutions, Inc. Need a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1276. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. for irrigation maintenance and repairs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1277, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. for landscaping services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1278 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with G&M Dej, Inc. for vehicle fuel management system maintenance and installation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1279, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Gershow Recycling for removal of abandoned junk and decommissioned vehicles.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1280 of 2024, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with J Mill Management, Inc. for the 2025 summer season for a concession at Ponquag Beach, Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1281 to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with North Sea Hardware for lumber and paint east of the canal.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1282, co-sponsored with Councilman McMahon, authorized supervisor to sign contract extended with Spectre Manufacturing, Inc. for for closed top shelf container injection trailer with hydraulic roof opening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1283, co-sponsored with Councilman McNair. Authorize supervisor to sign contract extended with Suffolk County Brake Service for walk-in floor trailers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-128, also co-sponsored with Councilman McNam. Authorize the supervisor to sign contract extended and for furnish and delivery assorted oils, lubes, grease with Lubricant LLC, West Hampton Order Supply, and Grade A Petroleum.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have
Town
a
Board.
lot.
What?
You have a lot
I
today.
know. Town Board 24-1285, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend street sweeper parts and gutter and rear boom with McVivie's Equipment and Trident Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1286, also sponsored by Councilman Scavone, authorized supervisor to sign contract with GEI Consultant Engineer and Architect, Landscape Architect, develop and rare species survey located within Long Pond and Little Pond in Sag Harbor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1287, authorized supervisor to sign DPP with Torsville American Business Solution Inc. for copy machines from Eastern Suffolk BOSI contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1288 of 2024 to authorize the supervisor to sign a 2025 Community Development Block Grant Project Description Forms.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1289, also co-sponsored Councilman Cindy McNamara, authorized supervisors sign extended with Grant Northern Fiber LLC for private or multiple markers for disposal and recycle service for mixed paper and corrugated cardboard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1290 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Eagle Control Corp. As sole source provider for the supply of constant chlor briquettes to perform services and routine maintenance and SCADA upgrades to the constant chlor chlorinator at the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1291, also co-sponsored with Councilman Izil, authorized the supervisor to execute a contract extended with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer Survey for DPC for on-call engineer service to be provided to the Highway Department for various town-wide projects.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1292 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Waste Zero for the supply and distribution of garbage.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1293, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract with Cullen and Donowski LLP for the annual audit of community preservation funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1294 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Naraki Smith LLP for the preparation of an annual financial audit for years 2024 and 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1295, authorizing the supervisor to execute a donation agreement with Christopher Morrow for an Eagle Scout Service project.
Second.
Cindy, would you please add me to that?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1296, authorize the supervisor to extend a professional services agreement with Leonard J. Marchese, MBA, CPA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1297, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorized supervisor to sign contract amend with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer Survey DPC for professional service to be provided by the Alwye Creek Habitat Enhancement Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1298 of 2024 to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for liquid caustic soda with Univar USA Incorporated. That's co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1299. Authorize the supervisor to sign contract to extend the drainage construction with Delano Coal and Stone, Inc., DBA South Fork ASA for the east of the canal, and Rosemar contract for west of the canal.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1300 of 2024, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Integrity Tree Care, Inc. as primary vendor and Jackson Dodds and Company, Inc. as secondary vendor for maintenance on trails in Southampton.
Second. And Madam Clerk, may I be added as co-sponsor to that, if you don't mind?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1301 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, Councilmember Uselli, Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all agreements for award of Community Preservation Funds, CPF 20% Water Quality Improvement Project Funds, Aquatic Habitat Restoration, and non-point source abatement and control projects.
Second.
Sunday, would you please add me to that one? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1302 of 2024, co-sponsored Councilman Pell, Supervisor Moore, and Councilwoman McNamara. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all agreements for award of Community Preservation Fund, CPF, 20% Water Quality Improvement Project Funds, wastewater treatment and pollution prevention projects.
Second.
And Madam Clerk, I'll be added to that if that's okay.
And I just want to remark that this resolution includes 7 projects, one of which is an amount for the Southampton Village for its sewer treatment plant, and it's in anticipation of them finding a suitable location. The funds will only be provided as the work is done and invoices for reimbursement are submitted, so that if they don't find an appropriate location, or if they end up connecting to a future sewer treatment plant at the college campus, then we'll reallocate the funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 2024-1303 to award and authorize the supervisor to sign contracts for fencing and stakes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1304 for the comptroller to purchase necessary workers' compensation insurance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1305, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, to recall and amend Resolution Number 2024-1005 to authorize the purchase of computers for police vehicles from Island Tech Services LLC using Omnia Partners contract and New York State OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1306. Recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-1099. Authorize the Justice Court to apply for grant funding for support justice operation through the New York State Infirmary Court System for 2024 and 2025 Justice Court Assistant Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1307, the 2024 notice to bidders for replacement parts for Chevrolet and General Motors.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1308, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, notice to bidders for public bathroom cleaning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1309 of 2024, co-sponsored by Councilmember Uselli, to authorize budget modification to the Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1310, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, to amend the 2024 adopted budget for nutrition programs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution 2024-1311, to amend the 2024 budget for various departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1312, to to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for Hampton Bays Community Center interior improvements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1313 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for Red Creek Turf West Field.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1314, amend the 2025 primary budget for the highway garage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, not that I don't support it, but I will not be voting on anything that further increases the tax levy. So if it's not offset somewhere else, I'm not supporting it.
So you're voting no?
Voting no.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1315,
Did everyone else vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
co-sponsored with Councilmember Iacilli, to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for investigation and enforcement fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1316, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for land management fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And, excuse me, I just want to say that there are 7 resolutions that are going to follow, and the tentative budget that I put forth included a $3,000 increase for all non-union employees, and the contract for our union employees will be negotiated at the beginning of next year. I recognize that the individuals listed in these next 7 resolutions are deserving of increases, but so are many others in the town, which is why I put forth a budget increasing the salaries across the board. And for that reason, I'm going to abstain from the following 7 votes for the additional increases. Not that I think that the people named are not deserving, they certainly are, but so are many others.
And I am not supporting any increases to the tax levy, so therefore I will not be supporting any of these, including increases to my own staff.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1317, amend the 2025 primary budget for hourly premium and related benefits for senior just court clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
I'm
No.
sorry. Michael, did you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Can I just clarify?
We should do a roll call now.
Well,
It-
Cindy, are you a no or an abstain?
A no.
A no. And you're abstaining? Okay.
Motion passed. Town Board Resolution 1318 of 2024. This is to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Town Planning and Development Administrator.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain?
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1319, amend the 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Director of Housing and Community Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Town Board Resolution 2024-1320, to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Youth Services Coordinator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Abstain?
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1321, co-sponsored with Councilman Aizawa, amend 2025 primary budget for salary-related benefits for the Deputy Superintendent of Highways.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1322, amend the 2025 primary budget for salary and related benefits for the Deputy Town Clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No.
Abstain?
Town Board Resolution 2024-1323, amend the 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for legislative aid positions.
I have a question on this. Councilman Cindy McNamara, do you support this because it's your aide? If you don't support this, does she deserve a raise or not deserve a raise?
She deserves a raise, as do all these people. I don't agree with the way this was done. and the way that people were left out, and I'll address
And
that
you-
later
you-
on, but I do
You had
support
every
this.
opportunity to discuss that when we originally, when
And I told you flat out that I was not supporting
I
these.
wasn't done talking. You could have presented your own budget in the beginning, just when the supervisor did hers. We had the opportunity to do that, and you did not. So,
Councilman Pell, I didn't have months to draft a new budget. Neither did I have the votes to support it. I can't even get a second for a public hearing, so I doubt this board would have supported me changing the entire budget.
you never know until you try.
You don't know
Okay.
that.
You don't know that until you try.
Who's the second?
I interrupted Michael, I'm sorry.
Are you seconding?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Abstain.
No.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1324 to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for various charts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1325 to amend the 2025 preliminary capital budget for the West Hampton Activity Center.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna
That's
have
not
to-
increasing the budget, it's just
I have
increasing the
one
borrowing.
thing.
The
Correct.
capital borrowing.
Everyone else is a yes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tom?
the pre-administration bonded everything. Bonded. This administration is trying not to bond everything and pay as we go along. It's a big difference between the pre-administration, the town board, than this town board.
This town board, this budget is borrowing more than the prior town board, so.
That's not true.
Not
Yes,
true.
it is.
That's
You
false.
should really,
$1 million more.
I
okay.
mean, our comptroller's
Can
here,
you,
but
can you
I don't.
comptroller come up and talk about this? Because I really would like to know, because she's saying something that's not true.
Well,
Sorry to put you underneath pressure like this.
we did borrow a lot in 2024 that was adopted, and majority of it is because we did the ECDs, the Bridgehampton and Sagaponic ECDs. So that accounted for about $21 million.
But wasn't the bond resolution, the borrowing in the budget for this year, 19 million, and then the 21 million for the ECDs?
You mean in the 2024 budget?
Yes.
The 21 million was for the ECDs. I didn't bring my
We
2024.
bonded $16,625,000.
It was 19 million.
No, it wasn't,
That
because we
was
didn't
adopted.
bond for all of it.
We might not have borrowed it, and we may
did-
not borrow it
remember-
next year.
Remember, we also do have that resolution that if my estimated fund balance in September, it's higher, it's higher than the actual fund balance. 70% of it is then allocated for debt service. So we did borrow about $2 million less than we anticipated, only because of that debt service. I forget how it's called, but because of that. So I would have to look
I
at
just
my
went to the bond
resolutions.
authorizations.
Well,
You
the
just
point
subtracted
is
the
that when
ECDs and what we did.
the point is that when the budget was adopted last year for 2024, the borrowing was 19 million. And this year, because of the debt reduction
We borrowed
and
less, correct.
that we eliminated a
We
project or
eliminated
two.
some project, yes.
Yeah.
So we borrowed less, correct. We did.
So we
did-
don't know what's going to happen next year
Well,
with the
like
debt
it-
reduction.
We don't know. We don't
We
know
don't
what the
know
fund
if we're going
balance
to borrow all
is.
the money with.
If the fund balance is, again, my anticipated fund balance is lower than the actual fund balance, that's how it works. The fund balance at the end of the actual fund balance at the end of the year needs to be higher than my estimated. That difference, 70%, it's used to offset the debt, the future debt, and the 30% goes back to the fund balance. I don't know what my fund balances at the end of the year are gonna be. My projections are in the budget. So that will, if we may save, that's correct. The borrowing was over 30 million just because of the ECDs this year. I don't have exactly how many bond resolutions. I didn't bring that information. I can look into and give you feedback. But again, we definitely borrowed less than we authorized by bond resolutions.
Because I remember last January, we had all those bonds from the previous town board. a lot of them we did not accept or did not use.
Well, we didn't do, remember, we
Rescinded.
rescinded one for the Noyak Road, that was $1 million. About $750 we not borrowing for the Lobster Inn, that's about $2 million there.
And
And
$4
then-
million for the West Hampton Center.
No, all of that money was already borrowed.
No, I know, to fix it up, we rescinded that.
I don't remember that
That rescinded
resolution. I
that.
think
Was
we
a
already had
bond.
all the money
Yeah, it was a
to do
bond to-
that. Unfortunately, any money that we didn't spend, has to be reserved for debt, to pay off the debt. But we did, we did bond it. The authorization to bond was higher than the actual borrowing because we didn't do some of the projects, and then we
Yeah.
also used the debt reserve, that formula to offset the debt. And we don't know how much we're gonna borrow next year, that all depends as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1326 to amend the 2025 preliminary capital budget for estimated roll forward amounts.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1327, resolution of adoption amending the Town Code Chapter 8 to override the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law 3C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1328, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize increases of the maximum amount to be expended annually in the Town of Southampton Special Districts.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1329, to adopt the 2025-2029 capital program and 2025 capital budget.
Second.
All in favor?
On the motion?
Aye.
On the motion, I'll just read my budget statement now, as we move to adopt the budget, both the capital and the operating. The supervisor's 2025 budget message had several key claims. Among them, that the 2025 budget was fiscally responsible, that it was crafted with input from the town board, and that it contained salary increases to address the challenge of retaining current employees and hiring new employees. The 2025 budget reflects $10 million in new spending. After utilizing $1 million more in fund balance versus prior years, it will still increase the tax levy by more than 11%. After moving $1.5 million of borrowing to the operating budget, the 2025 budget, as stated, still outpaces the 2024 budget of what was actually borrowed in new borrowing by $1 million. Then there are the additions that we know are coming but aren't accounted for in this budget. $1.5 million to give the union the $3,000 the supervisor has promised them. $2.9 million for the purchase of a new building in Hampton Bays the supervisor is noticing a public hearing for later in this agenda. The outfitting of that building, as well as renovations to the current building those employees are moving out of. None of this fits my definition of fiscal responsibility. I want to be very clear on this next point. While I can't speak for my fellow board members, I had absolutely no knowledge of the $3,000 plus 2.5% pay increase in the supervisor's budget for elected officials and non-union admins. 3 of you that are voting to give yourselves a 4.5% and 6.3% raise respectively haven't even served for an entire year. On the claim that these salary increases will address the challenge of retaining current employees and hiring new employees, 61% of those that receive this raise make over $90,000 a year. Some of them, making a 6-figure salary, are able to work from home to offset childcare costs. And when they do commute to work, some of them do so in a taxpayer-funded car using taxpayer-funded fuel. Meanwhile, we have employees making $50,000 a year with no work-from-home option due to the nature of their work, commuting in every day on their own time and in their own vehicle. These are the employees we are having difficulty hiring and retaining, and this budget does nothing for them. The time for merit-based raises with input from the entire board and HR was prior to the blanket $3,000 raise being issued. What you did today only made a bad situation worse. The union workers feel further slighted, and I have heard from several department heads that didn't know that they should have been advocating for themselves, wondering why they aren't deserving of additional money or why their staff, some of whom have been passed over for years, weren't better taken care of. As an example of the disparity that played out today, a female department head who oversees 4 programs, 34 full-time employees and 15 part-time employees only received what amounted to a 5.5% pay increase, while her male counterpart, who oversees one program, 4 full-time employees, and 12 part-time employees, received what amounted to a 12% increase. They now have the same salary. There were 6 division heads who made the same amount of money, and you singled out 2 of them for a raise with no justification to the remaining 4 as to why they were not so deserving. This is the 3rd budget process I have been a part of, and the first that saw non-union employees and elected officials receiving more than union employees. Employee morale is at the lowest I have ever seen. I did not put forward or support a single resolution to increase spending or borrowing because of where this budget is already at. But for the supervisor to not put forward a resolution to give the union the $3,000 she gave herself while proposing the purchase of a $2.9 million building at the same meeting, I do not have the words.
Well, you seem to have a lot of words, and you can spin it any way you like, Cindy, but when I put forward the tentative budget, everybody had the opportunity to make changes. You could have reduced the $3,000 that went to the non-union people, and you chose not to do it. Now you're voting against it. Everybody had the opportunity to make any changes that they wanted to the tentative budget when converting it to the preliminary, and even now after the public hearings. And I've said it a dozen times, the union contracts are going to be negotiated next year, and that's when their raises will get into effect. I didn't think it was appropriate to open up the contracts, but again, that's something that could have been discussed. So, anyway, is there a second for the?
Can I say something?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
You know, I wanted to open the union contracts this springtime. I had no support except by one person on here.
What?
To open the union to do it. And
I don't remember that.
Nope.
In fact,
yes.
I was on the board when we did open the union contract 2 years ago.
I was talking Tommy John.
I know. Well, you made
Okay.
a claim that's untrue.
Well, can I finish?
Just let Councilman Paul finish. And then...
And the one person was Michael. You were up. Cindy was against it. You were totally against it. Okay.
That is a
Oh, wow.
factually
Tommy John?
incorrect
That is a
Tommy
blatant
John?
lie.
Stop interrupting me. I don't
Blatant
interrupt you
lie.
when you yak. And furthermore, I would never defund the police department. We need the 4 new cops in there. By not supporting this budget, you're actually defunding the police department for all the people in there who got backfilled because the prior board did not backfill a lot of the positions in the police department. And
When are you going to start taking accountability for things, Bill? Maybe next year?
maybe you should start.
Maybe next year.
Okay, I categorically disagree and
That was
deny
completely
with
false.
what you
And
said.
I will support
mean,
Councilman Schivoni in that. That was
goodness,
completely false.
that was horrible and completely inappropriate. And I was on this board when we opened up the contract and we gave raises to our CSEA members. As far as the police department, in my tenure here, I started with 91 officers and I'm going to finish with 110. Don't give me any of this about defunding the police stuff. Shame on you, Councilman.
I said defunded by not supporting the budget. You're supporting the budget. Someone else is not. I wanted to open.
Okay.
You can ask
Thank
Marie.
you for the
Did I go down?
clarification because
I went down and talked to Claire, and it came back to you and the other board members, and I had no support.
Not true.
You know, this to the tentative budget is what I put forward to the board. That's by law. I'm supposed to do it. I'm not supposed to collaborate at that point. I'm supposed to do what I think is appropriate and give it to the rest of the board. Then it's up to you all. You want to see individual raises. You want to see a reduction in the raises. It's all up to you. You can change it by resolution. It wasn't done. So,
you know, and one more, are you done, Supervisor?
Yes.
One more comment. The person from this board that should be negotiating our contracts is the supervisor, not individual council members. And it is completely inappropriate for you to open up negotiations and then make claims in public that are false.
I did not say I said I wanted to have the board open
Said
it up.
you went
And
to the
told me
union
same
president.
thing. You told me the same thing, that supervisor's going to do it, and I was going to hopefully that once we open, the supervisor could negotiate with the union. Someone
You-
had
you
to
just
start
justified
it. Someone
everything
had
that I
to
just-
start it, and you were
Councilman,
negative about it, Tommy
just
John.
justified everything I said. Completely inappropriate.
You're just in
Again.
Again, for you too.
Well, this is the end of the budget process, and here we are, you know, there've only been a few resolutions to make changes, so now we have the resolution to adopt it because it has to be done on or before the 20th of November. So,
I just,
did-
if it's okay, if I can.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to hear from you.
You know, I think this was a really difficult balancing act, and I just want to say that, you know, Supervisor, I know that you worked really diligently on this, and I know it wasn't easy. And I think there were a lot of considerations being discussed that, you know, whether it had to do with the union employees, whether it had to do with making sure that our police department was adequately funded. We have heard from the community time and time again, we need more cops. We also need more code enforcement officers. I think this budget it adequately accounts for the requests that came from the community. I understand your perspective on this, Councilwoman, and you know, that's fine. But you know, I think everybody here tried their best, and I think it's important that we recognize that everybody was trying to put their best foot forward. You know, Tommy John, I know you had some interest in making sure that we were able to adequately fund our projects. Bill wanted to make sure his liaison assignments were adequately addressed. The same goes for everybody else. So I think this was a really difficult exercise. We are not the only town in the region, in the county that has pierced the cap. I think it's an important consideration and point of fact.
Well, that is true, that 8 of the 10 towns in Suffolk County pierced the cap this year. And it was a difficult year. And with respect to the salary increases, I mean, the union got the 2.5% as per the contract, and so did the non-union. And, you know, rather than do everyone all in the same year, I thought it best to do non-union this year and union next year. And the non-union includes the elected officials who for a long time haven't received raises. I'm not talking about us necessarily, but the other elected officials in the town. So,
They received all the same raises,
again,
you
it could have been, you know, you could have adjusted it. So did anyone second that resolution 1330?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1331 to accept the warrant number 21, capital
Miss-
number
miss-
21.
30.
What?
We just voted on the capital budget, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Town Board Resolution 2024-1330 to adopt the 2025 final operating budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1331, the warrant number 21, capital 21, CPF number 21, dated November 12th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1332 of 2024, resolution to adopt substitution of terms in Residence District Table of Use Regulations.
Second, and co-sponsor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think you let him finish. She was going to say that.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1333, resolution of adoption of local law amending Chapter 150 to enact a leash law for streets and sidewalks.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
And I want to say thank you for removing beaches and
You're welcome. Thank you
Page
for your support.
99.
101.
99.
99. Town Board Resolution 2024-1334, resolution to adopt and tack law local law 312-6 C7 in order to make a portion of Lighthouse Road one-way road southern direction between intersection with Foster Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1335 of 2024, waive Parks and Recreation facility use fee for Franca Trunk or Treat event.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1336, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Friends of the Hampton Bays Library Magical Sleigh Ride to be held on December 1st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1337 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Fire Department Holiday on Main event on December 7th, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1338 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Cost reimbursement waiver for St. Rosalie's Church, Our Lady of Guadalupe Run on December 12th, 2024, from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1339 of 2024, authorized waiver of parks and recreational use fees for 2024 St. Rosalie's Our Lady of Guadalupe Run.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1340 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, cost reimbursement waiver for the Hispanic Apostolate Our Lady of Guadalupe Run on December 12th, 2024, from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1341 of 2024, authorized waiver of parks and recreation facility use fee for the 2024 Run with the Torch in honor of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1342 of 2024, authorized waiver of parks and recreation facility use fee for Hampton Bays High School Interact Club Run as One 5K for Mary's Meals on November 23rd, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1343, authorizing the town board to erect a gate on town property at 1094 Middle Line Highway in Sag Harbor. Just a point of, if we could make an amendment, Madam Clerk, to
Wait,
the.
you want to do a motion to amend?
Oh, motion, sorry, yes, motion to amend.
Second.
Thank you. The third whereas clause should say of the Friends of the Long Pond Greenbelt.
Brought by friends instead of representatives?
Yes, for representatives, no, the representatives can
Representatives,
stay. It's, the organization is called Friends of the Long Pond Greenbelt. So if we could just add
Representatives
Friends of the
of the-
before the Long Pond Greenbelt. Does that make sense? Got it. Thank you.
Who's the second on the amendment?
I am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's second on the resolution?
And then
Who's seconding the resolution as
Same
as
amended?
amended.
All in
Second.
favor?
Cindy did.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1344, the 2024 part-time salaries.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, Town Board Resolution 2024-1345, to accept the resignation of Brian Coriel, scale operator in the Municipal Works Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1346, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to accept the retirement of Tatiana Love, Assistant Senior Citizen Center Manager.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution
Congratulations.
2024-1347, to appoint Christina Lombardi to the office assistant position in the Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, and by the way, congratulations, Tatiana, on your retirement. Town Board Resolution 2024-1348, to appoint Michelle Morano Mendoza to Justice Court Clerk, Spanish speaking, in the Justice Court.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1349, to appoint Sean Kerneen to Real Property Recorder 1 position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1350, to appoint a hearing officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1351 of 2024, attendance at Homicide Investigators course in College Point, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1352. This is to recall and amend Resolution 2024-1031, authorizing the sole assessor to attend the New York State Assessors Fall Conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1353, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, notice of public hearing for 2025 fire protection contracts. And that'll be on November 26, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1354, co-sponsored Cindy McNamara and Supervisor Moore, to notice a public hearing to amend Town Code 90 entitled Smoking Prohibited in Designated Non-Smoking Areas, including addition non-smoking areas being within 30 feet of any direction or within public transportation, festival, or shelters, including those designated for pickup, drop-off areas at the faculties that are open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1355 of 2024, a notice of public hearing to consider adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 2024 to 2025 tax year, co-sponsor of Councilwoman McNamara.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
November 25th, that's the date of that public hearing. Town Board Resolution 2024-1356, notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of property located at 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York.
Second and co-sponsor, Madam Clerk?
And the timing is such that we have to do it before the end of the year. It's an opportunity that I think we should just discuss, and the funding would come from our unallocated reserve.
Madam Clerk, can I co-sponsor too, please?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
No.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1357, co-sponsored by the entire board, to schedule a notice of public hearing to authorize the acquisition of 1195 and 1253 Noyak Path in the hamlet of Bridgehampton, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
November 26th also. A lot of public hearings.
Town Board Resolution 1358 of 2024, co-sponsored Councilman Schiavone. Notice of public hearing to authorize the acquisition of fee title for the property located at 15 Lewis Road and acquisition of enhanced development rights of the properties located at 17 and 19 Lewis Road, East Quogue, and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include properties.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1359 of 2024, notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of a conservation easement and restrictive use easement for the properties located at 210 Clay Pit Road landlocked, 1215 and 1355 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1360 of 2024, a notice of public hearing to accept the deed of dedication for open space in connection with the planned residential cluster plan known as Tuckahoe Orchard, Tuckahoe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 20.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1361. Notice of public hearing considered intact Town Code Article XXX11 as it relates to amortizing the non-conforming sand mines that meet certain criteria within town of Southampton.
Second.
And we'll have a full discussion of the.
Yes.
On the motion,
Written.
I would usually support at least hearing from the public, but given the nature of this and that every amortization this town has ever done has been preceded by a study, given that no study has been done on this and the impacts that will greatly affect our community, and I don't know that it's even legal to preempt the New York State DEC on this, I am going to vote no.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that will be a 1 o'clock in the afternoon meeting.
The first public hearing on it, yes.
Hopefully we can have a nighttime meeting on this as well.
Hope so.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1362, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the sale of real property located at 112 Old Riverhead Road, West Hampton Beach, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have the one walk-on. Town Board Resolution ID number 48126 to authorize the release of a performance bond for the demolition of existing house located at 166 Sabonic Road, Tuckahoe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. If no one has anything else, then I move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.